How I got started. I guess I was kind of born into motorcycling a bit. You know, my dad was in the business. My parents both worked in the motorcycle industry, so I just happened to come along and basically be thrown right in the middle of a motorcycle shop. So I've been around it my whole life. Started riding when I was like 4.5. So I've been on a motorcycle for a long time and just been part of my life. I mean, from the beginning, my dad always loved motorcycles. He loved motorcycles. He never associated it with, you know, the scary side of it. It was more like, let's go have fun and go ride motorcycles and go to the desert. And it was really about like friendship and going to the racetracks and just having a good time. So that's how I always saw it, and that's how I still see it. It's funny because like my dad kind of forced me to go to work when I was younger because he wanted to keep me out of trouble. So I've worked in a motorcycle shop in a manufacturing facility since I can remember. You know, I was putting together these little parts and kind of doing like just remedial tasks for my dad, sweeping up or deburring parts, you know, or like really basic assembly stuff when I was little. And that kind of turned into designing for the shop, you know. I started racing, and then I was also designing at the same time. So I've just been designing since I was like probably 20 years old, designing motorcycle parts. Oh, the first part I designed myself? I think it was probably a wheel. I think it was like a 12-spoke wheel. And I didn't actually design it on the computer. I'd like sketched it and like worked with the engineers on how to make it. But back then we didn't have 3D modeling. That was in like 94, I think. So back then it was like working with a 2D design and then working with the programmers to show them how you wanted it machined and stuff. So it was totally different process back then. We just said I was like, we need 3D software. It's the only way to really visually see what we're gonna do before we cut it in metal, because cutting metal is really expensive. So this is like, you know, you can come down here and kind of see how this is built. I built a motorcycle in 2002 that got a pretty good amount of recognition, and then I built another bike called the Hard Way that people really liked. So it was at the same time that I was designing a lot of products, you know, and I was like, wow, I kind of have a knack for this. I'm good at it. And people already knew my name from racing, and then they started to know my name from building motorcycles. So it just kind of started growing. It was like, I should be using my name to do stuff, you know. And like at the time, a lot of like the television shows were out, like the Biker Build-Offs and, you know, all the Monster Garages and all that stuff. With the Biker Build-Offs, they really wanted a name, not a company. So it was like, I'm a bike builder, you know, my name's Roland Sands, so maybe we'll just use that for a brand. It was like more out of necessity at the time, and then it just kind of became what our brand became. This is probably our most popular leather. That is a beautiful piece of leather jacketry.
I think we found a spot within the motorcycle industry where the apparel is technical enough to be protective and still has a real heritage value to it that a lot of brands don't carry. So there's the big motorcycle, you know, apparel brands are very technical. We don't want to play in that game so much, but we bring kind of that crossover kind of thing where you can ride your bike and go to the restaurant, you know, and not be that guy, you know, with the elbows out and the hump on your back, or the thing that has a big Harley on your back. So that's kind of where we found a lot of success. And that's why the online stuff works, you know, because people look at it and go, this is something different.
Yeah, our online stuff has been strong. It's crazy because a guy's going to spend $600 by looking at a computer screen. It says a lot for how positively people feel about our brand, you know. They trust us, so. Building custom bikes is definitely like our core. That's where really everything comes from, even the apparel, you know. It comes from like the detail that we do on the motorcycles. It comes from the diversity of the motorcycles that we build, you know. We build Sportsters, Softails, KTMs, Ducatis, Harley Davidsons, every type of Harley. All the Japanese motorcycles, Yamaha, Suzuki's, BMWs, like everything. We work on everything. So for us, the motorcycle builds are really the diverse part of our business. The motorcycle products are what really keeps us afloat. That's more of our bread and butter. And that's like, we build a huge variety of products for Harley Davidsons, from Sportsters, Softails, Dynos, Baggers, a little bit of everything. The Hard Way was probably the first bike I built that really got a lot of attention. It was a pretty radical bike. It was like all orange metal flake and green, which sounds crazy, but it worked. Um, and it was just a lot of the product I designed for Performance Machine went on that bike. So it was really my first opportunity of design the majority of parts that went on the bike, and then also everything else. You know, all the sheet metal and the frame. I had a friend of mine actually build the frame for me, and it was a frame I designed with him, like on a napkin. So it was like finally a chance to really build a custom bike utilizing all the product I've designed, and it looked really nice. So like Chip Foose gave me some award for it, so that was cool. Chip was like an idol, you know. The recognition of certain individuals in the motorcycle industry was like, you know, like for Jesse James, for instance, was pretty, for me it was like, hey, this can be more than just me building motorcycles. I can actually build a brand. You know, I saw how quickly Jesse did it, and, you know, he owes a lot of that to the success he had on television. But he was able to really build a brand pretty quickly. So it gave me the feel like, I know I have the talent, and I know I have the design sensibility to be able to really design a wide berth of things. And of course, building motorcycles, I have a great crew, so I have confidence in that. So it's like, let's build something cool. Let's build a brand out of this thing. You know, we've actually built all the furniture in here, which is crazy. But you know, custom motorcycles, hard parts, design. We do some outside design for some other companies. We work with Bell Helmets. We do a lot of design work for them. We have our full apparel line that we do here out of this shop. So it's a lot of different products.
I think we found a spot within the motorcycle industry where the apparel is technical enough to be protective and still has a real heritage value to it that a lot of brands don't carry. So there's the big motorcycle, you know, apparel brands are very technical. We don't want to play in that game so much, but we bring kind of that crossover kind of thing where you can ride your bike and go to the restaurant, you know, and not be that guy, you know, with the elbows out and the hump on your back, or the thing that has a big Harley on your back. So that's kind of where we found a lot of success. And that's why the online stuff works, you know, because people look at it and go, this is something different.
It's crazy because a guy's going to spend $600 by looking at a computer screen. It says a lot for how positively people feel about our brand, you know. We were talking about that yesterday. We were like, I was going to do this custom helmet that had like jail bars in it and put me inside of it. Like, we're going to do like a little video of me, like just in a white room, just like looking around bummed out in the prison of motorcycling. I don't have a choice anymore. I'm stuck. If I want to go design boats, so it'd be a hard thing to do.